What's up guys, it is That Pain again. I'm here again with another video, and today we're going to try to run through this really quickly, but there is a lot to cover as there is the refinery system, there is the auction house system, there's the new equipment itself, and I just wanted to kind of cover as much as I could in this video, and we're going to try to speed through this refinery area as I think that this is the least kind of confusing section of it. Basically, you have a bunch of smelting vats where you can put a bunch of your material in, like let's say precious ore. You also have, these rare ores which you can get 5 a day for 50 a pop. And then you can also just get a bunch of these high efficiency machine oil, kind of for 50 a pop as well, if you want to just speed up a bunch of these smelting vats, which I don't have really any more speed ups to be going through. So if I want to speed these up, I can always get some more of these. That being said, you do have this refinery pack, which I actually think is a decent value. Being able to get 3 of these precious ores a day does seem pretty solid. As well as these other privileges, just depends if it's worth it, up to you, right? And you do have this refining thing, which also does have a $5 pack, which if you complete all of this, you get 60 of these precious ores, as well as a bunch of, high efficiency machine oil and all these other kind of stuff. I would say like the best thing is going to be the precious ores and trying to pull like legendary gear. But overall, not really that bad and not too stacked on information this time. You do get a plunder and stuff, which is something that I find that's pretty neat. You can basically run through and plunder other teams. I would say the most important thing to kind of note is that being in a whale alliance definitely pays off for you this time, because you just have whales that are going to constantly defend you. So in this case, you probably have to make sure you're raiding weaker alliances that can't fend off your raids, because most likely someone's going to help their alliance member fend off this raid. And this is when being in an alliance with a whale or whales does benefit you pretty heavily, because you're going to be able to just kind of collect your stuff uncontested for the most part. So that's pretty cool and pretty interesting overall. And one thing I forgot to mention is going to be this refinery. As you refine more stuff, you basically can get more XP, which is going to be able to level this up, which gives you more free daily ores, warehouse capacity, base production, whatever the case. And now to the more important stuff. It's going to start off with the squad equipment. Basically, you can come in here and you can choose a job to start off, right? And from what I understand, the proficiency level is going to upgrade no matter what. No matter what you do, as long as you're going through these and forging, for example, right? If I forge right here, my proficiency level is going to, or it's going to put XP into this tactical weapon, right? So if I go over to engineer and I swap over, my proficiency level is going to be completely different than my material scientist in this case, which is level 4, right? You basically get one free switch every 30 days, which is kind of unrealistic if you're going to be pumping out a ton of gear, and 3,000 gems can make you switch consistently. And the reason you would switch is because your kind of level, your proficiency increases so much, right? So obviously you see here, I get 20% chance at getting a legendary set from simply just using like these legendary alloys, not including like elite material or legendary material in this case, right? But if I try to smelt other gear like a tactical weapon, or I try to smelt a firearm, it's only going to give me a 10% chance at pulling legendary gear. And this will be really one reason that you're going to be switching around a lot, is because you're maybe going to be trying to build up different sets and you want to make sure your proficiency level's higher, because obviously getting a bunch of these legendary alloys is probably not going to be as easy later game than it was right now, because I would assume that you're able to get a lot more of these early out because of that $5 pack, for example, that I had gotten as well, which gave me a bunch of these legendary alloys because I was able to smelt a bunch of stuff and get a bunch of these. But either way, you get the point. You can basically get a higher proficiency with whatever job you kind of choose here, and that basically makes it more makes you more capable of building up a certain set in your kind of in your gear set here. And then there is the thing of enhancing. You can basically go into your bag and you can just dismantle a bunch of these sets, right? You dismantle a bunch of the useless gear and you'll basically get a bunch of this material which you can use to enhance something. And the enhancement basically increases your basic attributes. And then you're wondering, well, what about all these specialized attributes? Why do I have so many useless stats? And I'll give you guys a little bit of information, although I'm also still a little stumped to some degree. Basically, it'll even tell you here, smelting can improve the specialized attributes of squad equipment. Each smelt can only enhance one specialized attribute at a time. Only squad equipment of the same grade, so let's say legendary, right? I can't use like an epic grade legendary attribute, from what I understand. Equipment of the same grade, and part of the original equipment can be used for smelting. And it must have at least one specialized attribute of the same type with the higher value. And after smelting is complete, any squad equipment used as materials will disappear. So in this case, if I wanted to improve my gathering bonus, right, and I use this piece of equipment, it's going to destroy the piece of equipment from what I understand. So you're going to most likely be just using these for the singular, like, legendary stat and trying to increase this. The one thing that confuses me in here is going to be like is it only, like, for example, infantry squad attack? I've only seen this so far, whereas like I got a gathering bonus here. I don't want a gathering bonus. I want obviously a squad attack or something. Would you have to just get insanely lucky on a piece of equipment that everything is like squad attack, squad attack, squad attack, and then increase it from there? Or is there the chance to, change the actual gear? You get what I'm saying? Like change the actual stat from gathering to like a squad attack stat or something. I don't really know if that's the case. I don't believe that's the case as of now, which is kind of the worst part. And maybe this is what is going to be kind of pushing the market so much in the auction house, is going to be people trying to buy for this kind of stuff, as well as just buying for gear that they can use later on. For example, like it said here, you can use the gear and it'll just destroy the piece of equipment. So basically, maybe people are going to be buying at low prices as much as possible to get these legendary stats and basically just change them over into their main set and their main gear, right? Which is something that's actually pretty interesting and pretty cool, to be honest. And I think it's going to be kind of just an interesting factor. And I think this is how there are some people that are already so high up in smelting equipment, like might. Like, I'll show you guys this leaderboard, right? You have Venom here at 4.6 million might already, and this is such a big gap on everybody. Like, there's no packs really to just get a bunch of material, right? So obviously the most likely thing that Venom's been doing here is probably going to the auction house, buying a bunch of gear to either dismantle it to use to enhance his gear, or to just take the stats and transfer them over to his main gear. So this is actually pretty cool. Just find it kind of interesting. And to be fair, this is ground zero, whatever, day zero, whatever. But this is like kind of the quality, I guess, you get as of being a whale, right? This is kind of the advantage you get as being a whale. You get the early stuff, you take advantage really early so that you can abuse it earlier and you can take advantage earlier, you can get more kills off it earlier, and then people start closing the gap later. But basically, you see here, obviously there's a bunch in the auction house. I mean, most likely nobody's really going to be buying these for like 3,000, like $100 here, right? Like, this doesn't offer you anything special, right? I think I saw something in here that had like a like a really good stat maybe, and that's maybe why someone would buy something so high priced, right? Like Rider Squad defense 3.8%. Maybe someone would get this simply for this Rider Squad defense to use it on their other gear, but you don't really know. I would say though, if you're gonna sell gear, maybe selling it at like $5 early out, maybe that would be the best way to sell any gear and get something off of it. But I'm assuming people will probably buy these gear just to dismantle them and stuff and get a bunch of enhancement material and stuff. That would be my best guess for what whales are probably going to do off this. And if you are going to sell, something to actually take note of is you are going to get taxed, right? This is something that really isn't mentioned, but for example, if I'm going to sell for 100 gold here, I get taxed 8, and this is 8% of my 8% of whatever I'm going to sell it for, right? If I sell it for 1,000, it's going to tax me for 80% of my gold as a handling fee. And I kind of actually understand this. Some people are going to call it greedy, but to be honest, this is kind of valid. I think like the developers are going to try to cut the margins somewhere in between, so like they're obviously not just freely sending gold back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But it is pretty interesting overall. I mean, you still get 92% of the gold. So if you sell something for $1,000, you get $920 of that. So it is just kind of interesting, this market, seeing how whales are going to probably utilize the market to enhance their gear, get their gear much higher up, earlier out, as fast as possible. Either way, you guys let me know what you guys think about this whole thing. I don't really have a whole lot more to say or talk on it. That being said, I do appreciate you guys for watching as always. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You guys let me know what you guys think about this whole new feature, this whole new system, and if you guys like it, if you guys hate it. Honestly, I expected this to be worse than it was. I'm not saying it's the best feature in the world, but honestly, I expected this to be worse than it was and kind of much more aggravating, if I may say, right? So I could be hating on it more, and I don't know. I'm not too upset with it so far. That being said, I appreciate you guys for watching as always. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. That is about it, and peace out.